So now I'm really going to give you a sales pitch as if you were a potential customer who really doesn't know about Ignition. So I'm really going to keep this pretty general. Inductive Automation, just to give you a short overview of who we are, we've been around since 2003. Although we did not start as a software company, we started as an integration company. Our president and founders got about 30 years experience implementing these types of systems for his customers in the Northern California region. He really found that there wasn't any good solution on the market back in 2003. He hired some software developers and basically had them develop his dream software. Since then, it's grown tremendously. Software is now being used in almost 90 countries at this point, in pretty much every industry you can imagine. We recently did a count of our customers in the Fortune 500 and found that about 30% of Fortune 500 companies use our software, most of them actually being in the upper Fortune 100, which is nice. Our headquarters is in Northern California, so all the software is developed here. We have training here 2 to 3 times a month, tech support as well. Although the headquarters is in California, we do resell and support our software throughout the world through an integration program that consists of over 1,000 integration firms. Now just getting into a brief overview of the Ignition architecture. Ignition is a server-based architecture. That means that you would just install the software on a server-based machine somewhere there on your private network. That machine would have a connection on the network to the multiple devices and PLCs. It'll have a connection to a database. We don't supply a database. We let the user pick what database they'd like, and then Ignition will simply have the drivers to communicate with the different databases out there on the market. It'll then have a connection to all the clients on the network. So whether you're on a desktop, laptop, touchscreen, it could be a thin client out there on the network, you can go ahead and launch the application onto those clients. So again, the software is just installed on the server machine. That means you have one license to worry about, one install to worry about. All of the clients just need a browser and Java to launch the application. Although Ignition is one piece of software, it is modular in nature. So that means you can use those modules together or separately depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Typically, Ignition is sold in kind of bundles that are kind of pre-configured, but you can customize your own if you'd like. Our most popular bundle is called the Works, and what's nice about that is it includes a collection of these modules that I'll explain to you in a moment. The first is the OPC-UA server. Ignition has an OPC server for Allen Bradley, Siemens, and Modbus. We have the built-in drivers that are free and just come with the software, but you could use whatever driver you want. If you wanted to use GE or maybe you're partial to RS Links, you could use that. We'll work with both UA and DA servers. The SQL bridge, that's kind of like your transaction manager. So it's a bidirectional bridge between an OPC server and a database. So say you wanted to do some data logging, or maybe you want to do stored procedures or recipe management. This is the piece of the software that will drive the data back and forth. The vision module, those are all your screens and clients. Reporting module, those are dynamic PDF reports. That Works bundle I mentioned also comes with the alarm notification module. So that'll handle your alarm pipelines. You can build logic into your alarming system, and you can work with, on-call rosters. You could do two-way email. You can also add SMS and voice notification if you wanted to. An option is usually the mobile module. Some people like to look at their application on their iPhones, iPads, Droids. That's a nice feature. A lot of managers like to do that sort of thing. So we have a mobile module for that. So those are the base core modules. And what's nice about it is there's other modules if you wanted to do other things with the software, like maybe you wanted to look at a web page inside of your Ignition screens, or we have IP cameras components. So maybe you wanted to look at IP cameras within your Ignition screens. We have an OE downtime module if you wanted to go up into the MES layer here, so you want to connect to ERP systems, SAP. We have statistical process control, scheduling, recipe changeover, track and trace, kind of the whole gamut there. What's nice about the MES modules is that they actually use this core layer. So that means you can have your OE downtime system and it's connecting directly to the PLC data. Maybe you want to pull up a trend. Well, you've got the SQL bridge here, which is actually creating that trend for you. So without going into too much detail, that's kind of a general overview there. Some things that really make Ignition stand apart from the rest of the other software packages out there is that Ignition is 100% Java all the way down to the drivers. That means you can run Ignition on any version of Windows, Linux, and Macs. Your customers don't need to worry about, okay, I want to go to Windows 8. Is my software going to be compatible? We ran on Windows 8 the day it came out. So, so it's definitely a package that, your customer can put in, and then they can keep that package in there, that software package in there, whether they decide to upgrade their operating system in the future or not. The next slide here is the pricing model. Ignition, we have all of our prices online. That's very different. I used to work for another vendor where you'd have to wait, maybe a couple weeks to a month for me to give you a quote because I had a lot of different pieces I need to look up. I need to know what your budget was, etc. We're very straightforward with our pricing, and people like that. So we have our software packages on the website. You can look at the individual module prices. You can make your own packages. The Works package, like I said, that's the most popular. We're known for our unlimited clients and tags. That's pretty much what we're known for throughout the industry. But you also get the designer built in. You don't have to pay separate for a separate development package. You're not locked out of the designer. And it's got everything pretty much included there. And then we've got other packages that go up and include the mobile module, sequential function charts, etc. So that's typically what I do. Of course, I usually spend more time doing that, especially if the customer has questions. But what you really want to do is focus on, the main things that make us different. So the scalability, the customer knows that they could start with, one of the packages today, and then later on they can add on, OE downtime, and it'll all work on that same platform together. Expandability and definitely affordability is a big push there.